In the case of my movie, it was definitely a practice of that, where this subject was just basically walking. I mean, this is absurd, but he was basically walking and I was basically filming him. And the whole sort of kind of traditional idea of crew and casting and scheduling was just sort of dissolved in this idea that anyone can really pick up a camera and, you know, film content. And I sort of hate using that word content, but you're sort of capturing material. And this movie, the movie that I made, was such a sort of example where it wasn't being sort of built around this idea of story. It was sort of letting the material dictate what I was filming.
So when I came to LA about 5 years ago, a good friend of mine who is a huge director gave me a tip. He told me, don't wait for people to hire you, create your own stuff. I was like, okay, it's my second language, like now I need to write a script. And he promised me he will rewrite it for me. So I did it, and he did what he promised. And just the process of having an idea and then see it on the big screen was amazing for me. I don't have children, but for me it was like my baby. And it's just getting birth to an idea and then to a movie. And it wasn't easy because I wrote it, I produced it, and I was in it together with 2 other actresses. I can tell you it's harder because you don't only focus on your performance and on your acting, you actually need to supervise so many stuff, and it's so hard. And it was a short film, so I can only imagine how it is to do a full-length feature. I would love to do it again, but it's very challenging.
Andrea, tell me about the evolution of Easy. You have a filmography of a certain length, and you know you've been directing for a while, so you know you've been within the Italian film industry, such as it is. Tell me about how the project came into your head and then how it came to fruition.
Well, actually, because I had a very bad idea. I mean, to try to direct as my first feature film a road movie. Actually, I had experience as a screenwriter. I wrote for Italian TV networks, TV series, and I directed one short and a couple of short documentaries. But this was my first, challenge. And the bad idea was because in terms of production, a road movie is quite more expensive than other kind of movies or genres. I mean, and because you change location every day, basically. So you don't repeat location, so it's more expensive because you travel more. And so I could not find any money to funding this. No, I couldn't find any money. Before that, I was just a director trying to find a producer, and I couldn't find a producer to do that. I mean, so I decided to set up my own company. And thanks to my company, I found other crazy guys in Ukraine running another production company, my co-producers. And they found the most important part of the budget for the movie, because I shot, let's say, like 80% in Ukraine and 20% in Italy. And but thanks to that, was a very hard process because we lost like, I wrote a script 8 years ago, and we shot like in 2016, so 6 years later. We were ready to shoot already in 2014, but then the war in Ukraine, the Crimea annexions.
Not just the expense, it's the circumstances.
The circumstances was very, very hard. And then, so actually we thought the movie was completely lost after that, because all the money of Ukrainian government for movies were sent to other kind of stuff during the war, of course. And so we thought that the movie was lost. But then, after 2 years, they called me and said, Andrea, come to Kiev, we signed the contract and we start.